Hey, what is good, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. So, this is day 4 in the Observability Zero to Hero. And today we're going to look at probably the last theoretical video, which is about how observability reduces the MTTR or mean time to resolution. Because we have seen the whole journey from monitoring to observability to metrics, logs, traces, SLO, SLA, and SLI. But the end goal of everything is to ensure that we know what is happening in our systems before the customers complain and we're able to fix it within a reasonable time. So that is the end goal. We want to go from, so what I've done here is I've taken an example of three teams. Okay. So these three teams, let's say team one, which is reactive, team two, which is aware, and team three, which is observable. So the whole point of observability is to go from being team 1 to team 3. So what is reactive? In reactive, the flow is very simple. Customer comes shouting. The customer comes shouting, and then only we check the server or application what is wrong. So this is reactive, and this is where most teams start back in the day at least. Okay, so I think observability is taken a bit more seriously and teams are a bit more aware, but this is the reactive team. An aware team. What is an aware team? So aware team may have some monitoring in place. They may have some degree of monitoring. I.e., they get CPU spike alerts. They get CPU spike alerts, or maybe some, you know, uh, maybe some of the Splunk dashboards don't look good and stuff like that. So this is the aware team that they know that something is happening, but this is still after things have happened. Okay, so this is the second team. But we want to be at the third level of observability maturity model, which is observable. So what is an observable team? First, let me change this a bit. First, they always know what is happening. A good example is this one, status.medium.com. I think this is a good example. So if you see, take a look at this page, they have 100% uptime. So today we are fully operational. So Medium can tell us at any point in time whether they are the services are up or not. So they can again bifurcate this in mobile web services as well as mobile components. So this is an observable team. Also, you can click on anything or say 2nd June or 3rd June, and they tell us that something was wrong. If you drill down deeper, then they can also tell us what was wrong. So they clearly say at 11:01 p.m. we are investigating an issue where stats page is missing data. Then at 11:42, 5 hours later, they identified the issue, and at 4:56 they resolved the issue. Okay, so there's quite a bit of gap, but the main or the major important point is this one, that they're able to they're able to give me 1 second. Okay. The main important thing is they're able to pinpoint exactly each and every time where things are happening. So at 11:01 p.m., 11:01 p.m., this one, that something went wrong. At this time, they identified the issue, and this is where they fixed. So this is an observable team. So this is where we want to get, and or this is where everyone should aspire to be. That is what is wrong. Second, where it is wrong. So here we're able to say that they were able to say we have identified an issue and the data is being processed on the stats page. So they're able to exactly pinpoint where things are wrong. And third, fix it. Okay, so this is how an observable team is. They exactly know where things are going wrong and how to fix it, and everything is in a single place. And we're also able to publish this data reliably. So for say teams like Google or Anthropic or GitLab or Medium, these bigger corporations, where millions of people are using them, they just cannot say that something is wrong and we'll try to figure it out. They cannot do that. That's a huge reputational impact. And that could be true for anyone. It could be true for banks, it could be true for service based organizations, it could be true for government websites and stuff like that. But it again depends on the level of accountability that you want to bring in. So depending on how accountable you are, how much you care about your reputation, teams move from reactive to aware to observable. So that is the whole point. So this is the last theoretical part where teams should, I mean, the whole goal of the observability or everything which we have learned so far is to go from reactive to being observable. And that's a longer journey. So it's not easy. You won't overnight go from reactive to aware to observable. There are multiple conditions to make this happen. So what are those conditions? Firstly is acceptance. Acceptance that we are not doing something correct. Then identify gaps. Third, tech stack. And fourth, process gap. Okay, so tech alone won't fix it. Tech plus process would fix your observability. That is the whole thing. Any of these four, or doing any of these four. So if you say that I'm just going to put in place the LGTM stack. But if your services are not writing correct logs, if your services or infrastructure is not emitting correct metrics, or you do not have correct Grafana dashboards, it won't work. Similarly, if you put in place the fanciest of LGTM stacks, but your teams are not aware, that they don't know how to read the dashboard, or maybe the dashboards are not reliable, or there is knowledge gap around how services should log. For example, if the logging itself is insufficient, then there's no point, right? No matter how fancy your tech stack is, if the logging itself is not meaningful, it doesn't tell you that the database is slow, or there's a timeout, the error messages are not clear, or there is no correlation, the distributed tracing, right? So in this example which I mentioned about, maybe here, this one, okay, the user login backend third party DB. So if the logging is not correct in any of these steps, there is no point having the LGTM stack. Okay, so observability is not here. Observability is not about tech, it is not about process. It is a combination of accepting that there is a gap, identifying those gaps, the tech stack, and the process gap. So everything has to be plugged in together, and this is where observability will then mature from reactive to aware to observable. So this journey is a longer one, and it involves multiple people or multiple teams coming together. Now, how fast you do the journey, that depends on your team's awareness. So that is the last thing, or the last concept which I had to cover. And the key takeaway is that the whole goal of observability is to improve the mean time to resolution. So when you first identify the issue, and so when you first identify the issue, this one, and when you fix it. So this has to be the smallest possible, and this is the whole goal of observability. So thank you for watching. In the next video, we will start practical implementation of observability and understand the various tools which we need.